You do seriously surprise me.
Thank you, Chef. I was hoping you'd see that. I mean, I'd give it all I got. Give you 110.
You surprise me to how shit you are.
Hello again everyone, welcome back to another video on this wonderful platform we call the internet. And today, well, for Easter, for the occasion of Easter, I decided to gift you with some PC fanboy salt straight from the source itself. So, I already made this video about a week or two ago, but I wasn't really in the mood to respond to the whole video up until now, but then I decided for Easter, well, I should, because, well, why not? So, yeah. Now, for those who haven't seen, pardon me, the previous video, which is the same as this one, but shorter, because, well, I didn't react to the video, respond to it, whatever. It's a PC fanboy that goes by the name of Joe from Seattle, and, well, let's just say that consoles live rent-free in his head because he just cannot stop talking about consoles, PlayStation especially. Just can't stop talking about it. Every single video I've come across, it's pretty much always about PlayStation and stuff. PlayStation fanboys, and, well, rightfully so, because, well, PlayStation fanboys, well, they're something else, to be honest. I've dealt with some before. But, yeah, but this video, well, sort of got my attention because well, as you can see, apparently consoles are a scam. But I digress because, well, personally I think PC gaming is more of a scam because, well, I spent $2,500 on my PC here, and, well, it still doesn't perform as good as my PS5. So, yeah. But anyway, though, feel free to grab some drinks, grab some snacks, as this might be a long one. This is probably going to be a bit of a doozy. And, well, enjoy the salt.
I think my favorite thing about the consoles is that they are constantly chasing their own benchmarks. First, it was the Xbone and the PS4 promising, oh, 1080p 60, 1080p 60, when only a handful of games actually managed to hold 1080p 60. Then there was the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, and it was about 4K gaming, 4K, when they hardly ever actually had 4K. Then along came the Series X and the PS5, which was promising 60 FPS and 120 FPS and 1440p and 4K, even though the higher ends of those promises were pretty rare and still are. And now there's the PS5 Pro, which is a $700 system that promises like the most elite 4K gaming experience, and yet it still caps you at 30 frames per second.
It's funny you say that because, well, the same thing can be said about PC gaming with the whole 4K Ultra and 120 FPS.
I just love that consoles are constantly promising things that they then spend the rest of the generation chasing. Why did you promise them if you didn't have the intention of providing them?
Same can be said about PC. Apparently the best graphics and the best performance, yet, well, even still, my PS5 performs way better than my PC, yet I spent $2,500 on the damn thing. And you know what I find extra funny is that, well, yeah, I spent $2,500 on my PC here, and as you can see with this game here, right, Asphalt Legends Unite, well, it can't even hit 30 FPS on PC, Asphalt Legends Unite. My PC can't even run it at even a solid 30, yet my PS5 and even my handheld ROG Ally runs it better. That is just sad if you ask me. So, sorry if I'm skeptical and not convinced when you say that PC offers the better gameplay experience.
I mean, I switched to PC years ago, so I haven't personally been burned by this in a long time, but it's still really frustrating that it happens. It's extremely annoying to me as a gamer who remembers when I switched from console to PC, partially because of 30 FPS caps and graphics that really weren't all that impressive compared to the previous generation. As someone in my position, it's frustrating to look at the specs for upcoming console games and be greeted with something like this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out and let them say that, yeah, I agree on that. It's not really a very good look, especially although now patched the 30 FPS cap when you're in the hideout, but everywhere else it runs just fine. But yeah, that's pretty shitty. But also, especially with the whole thing of having to choose between performance or fidelity, but don't go around acting like that's only on console, because, well, I've seen it on PC as well. So yeah, it's sort of everywhere, if you ask me. But yeah, especially also, once again, as he's saying, I will agree that, well, yeah, for consoles of this grade, I guess you could say, the whole 30 FPS thing should be a thing of the past, because, you know, technology gets better, this, that and the other, and 60 FPS onwards is now the norm when it comes to gaming. So anything less than that is, well, no longer the norm. So yeah, less than that is considered shit, and I do agree on that. But once again, don't go acting like it's not on PC as well, because although I don't remember what games, but I do remember I was playing a game on PC and I had to choose. There was a few of them I don't remember though, but I had to choose between the whole performance or fidelity thing. So yes, it's on PC as well.
This is embarrassing. So Ubisoft revealed the specs for Assassin's Creed Shadows the other day, and I had to make a video on this, because if this doesn't scream to you that gaming on console in the current year is a scam, a blatant scam, I don't know what else to tell you at this point. So we're going to look at this spec chart, we're going to break it down, I'm going to tell you exactly why I think it's all so stupid. But
you know something I find funny and I've noticed over the past year or so when it comes to PC fanboys? When a game underperforms and doesn't have a good performance on their precious piece of plastic PC, right, they'll blame the game and say that it's the game that doesn't perform well, yet on console they'll blame the console. Well, have you ever figured that maybe it is across all platforms, well, I don't know, the game itself, just like on your precious little piece of plastic? Like, I'll never understand why they think like that. Like, once again, on their preferred platform, they'll blame the game's performance, but when it comes to console, they'll switch it up and say that it's the console that can't handle the game, even though said console can handle other games just fine. Isn't that kind of funny?
But throughout all of this, I want you to remember one thing. One of the main selling points of the console, one of the things that people will tell you is an advantage of console over PC, is it's just so simple. It's just simpler this way. You don't have to deal with graphical settings, you don't have to fiddle with all these things. Meanwhile, PC gamers will tell you that the graphic settings are an advantage, because it means you can fine-tune the performance of the game. It means you can omit some things and really spec into other things. You can make the game look and perform exactly how you want it. While the main argument in favor of the consoles in this department is the fact that you don't have to think about those things. The game's just going to be really well optimized for your system no matter what, because you're on a console and it's just going to be wonderfully optimized, and you don't have to do any fine-tuning because it's fine-tuned for you.
Exactly. Is that really so hard to understand? Like, you buy a console and it lasts years upon years and still runs just fine, whereas with PC you have to spend hundreds of dollars every 2, 3 or so years to make sure that it stays, well, up to par, I guess you could say. So, yeah, like, is that really so hard to understand? I mean, yeah, of course, PC can run great and all that, but from my experience, it's sort of been everything but. Like, don't get me wrong, like, there's some games on my PC, some, that run absolutely incredible. Smooth frame rate, all throughout. Crew 2, Need for Speed Rivals, just to name a couple, and so on. But others, well, yeah, they run like shit. And once again, the whole thing with Asphalt Legends Unite is just absolutely sad. Like, it's literally a mobile game, and yet a $2,500 PC can't run a simple mobile port. Yet my console, that costs a quarter of the price of my PC, runs it just fine. Hell, even my handheld ROG Ally runs it better. So, yeah, it's just so odd.
So with that in mind, let's look at the fucking Assassin's Creed Shadows console specs.
Whoa, shit. Damn it, now PC fanboy salt is now leaking all through my mind. It's going over my desk and stuff. Great job, mate. Damn, the amount of salt is crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
So here we are. We'll start with the Xbox consoles. Bottom left here, the Xbox Series S. Resolution 1620p upscaled at 30 frames per second with no frame rate options and no option to turn off ray tracing. So right out of the gate, Ubisoft, what is this? The budget console, the one that's really, underpowered compared to the other consoles on the market, because it's the budget console. It's the one that's supposed to be like really streamlined and really easy to get into. You're running this game on that thing at 1620p upscaled with ray tracing at a 30 FPS target with no graphical options, no performance option. Okay, I just think that's funny that the budget console, the console that's probably being played on a 1080p monitor, 1440p monitor by someone who doesn't put that much money into gaming. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the budget console is still being forced to target upscaled 1620p, and you can't turn off the ray tracing. Okay, maybe that's a one-off. Maybe that's what they had to do to get the Series S version running, because we're always hearing about how underpowered and how disappointing, how troubling the Series S's hardware is. Maybe that's just a one-off. Let's keep going. Series X. We have 3 graphical presets. We have Performance, Fidelity, and Balanced. All 3 of them are running 4K upscaled resolution. So regardless of what graphical preset you're running, you're not getting true 4K. All right. And then performance mode, you get selective ray tracing, so upscaled 4K with 60 FPS. And then if you want to run at 30 or 40, it's standard ray tracing. So the fidelity mode and the balanced mode are actually the exact same graphical settings, just one's running 30 FPS, one's running 40 FPS. Which makes me think the fidelity mode has some room to spare, right? Because the only thing that's changing between fidelity and balance is you're adding 10 frames per second to the cap. So why can't you reallocate the... This is why I made the point about graphic settings. This is why I made the point about graphic settings. Where are you getting those 10 frames from? if the game is still running with the same ray tracing settings at the same resolution. Are there textural differences between the two modes? Or is the fidelity mode going to be like a really rock solid 30 because there's room to spare on the top end of that? Well, if there's room to spare on the top end of that, why are you upscaling the 4K? Why is it not true 4K? And bigger problem, why is upscaled 4K the only resolution option?
Good questions, not gonna lie. When it comes to getting their games to perform at certain grades, I guess you could say, across Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and PC, well, as I think we all know, Ubisoft isn't really the best when it comes to that. Like, look at their PC ports over the years. Like, they're not really the best. If anything, actually, I think, from my experience at least, The Crew 2 is their best running PC port by far. Because, as I said before, it runs and looks smooth as hell on my PC. So, yeah.
Why is there no native 1080p mode? Why is there no native 1440p mode? You can't lock in the 4K. Why are you not giving me the option to lock it somewhere lower? So maybe I can get those 10 frames somewhere else. But don't worry, it gets even stupider when we go to the PlayStation version. PS5 version, same exact thing as the Series X version. Fair enough, those consoles are basically the same. But here's where it gets real dumb. PS5 Pro, 1440p upscaled, so the $700 console is running the same resolution target as the other base versions, which, Sony, what was the point of this?
Fuck, you asking Sony this? Ask Ubisoft. They're the ones who are programming the fucking game.
And Ubisoft, what was the point of this? The fact that this game is targeting the same resolution on the PS5 Pro that it is on the base consoles, there are two explanations for this. Explanation number one is that Sony's console is not actually strong enough to hit true 4K at 30 frames per second or 40 frames per second.
Oh my god, Jesus Christ. See what I mean? When it comes to the consoles, they blame the consoles, and once again, saying that the PS5 cannot run 4K at 30 FPS is a load of crap. See what I mean? When it comes to their precious piece of plastic, their precious PC, they'll blame the game, but when it comes to consoles, they'll say some shit like that. You see what I mean? Like, there's just misinformation. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, seriously? It's funny because other games, you know, they run pretty well, but when it comes to just one or so game that doesn't perform so well on said platform, consoles here, they'll then say, oh, the console can't run it, yada yada yada, yet there's so many other games that runs just fine. Reminds me of the whole shit with the Series X apparently not being able to run split screen yet, which is also a load of shit because, well, I can play split screen on Forza Motorsport 6 and Forza Motorsport 7 on my Series X just fine. So, yeah, once again, that is a load of shit. And once again, have you ever considered maybe the game that can't meet these requirements? Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. Like, I'm not even that much of a tech whiz yet, even I know that. It's sad at this point.
That's explanation number one. Explanation number two, and this is the one that I think is more likely, is that Ubisoft is fucking inept and decided to target a resolution that the PS5 Pro cannot handle on the base consoles.
So close to having option 2 being the more realistic option, but then of course this cannot go not even just a tiny bit long without spreading misinformation about how apparently PS5 can't run a 4K resolution. If that's the case, then how come, at least when I had my PS5 out in the lounge room, plugged into the 4K HDR TV, and how come whenever I switched it over from whatever else, like cable TV or whatever it is, over to PS5, how come the TV would then pop up with a resolution thing saying 4K, and then it would have the HDR icon underneath or whatever? Someone care to explain? Exactly, that's what I thought.
Do you realize how stupid that is? There is a resolution target that the $700 console cannot handle. So naturally, let's make that the target for the other consoles as well. I'm sure this won't have any negative impact on the performance. Oh, but here we go. Fidelity mode is at 30 FPS, balance is 40 FPS, performance is 60 FPS, performance has standard ray tracing, and then the fidelity and balance modes have extended ray tracing. So if I want to play this game with ray tracing, I have to run it at upscaled 4K at a maximum of 40 frames per second. What if I want the graphical settings of fidelity mode without the ray tracing? Oh, then I can just go fuck myself? What if I want the graphics of performance mode, but I want to run it above 60 frames per second, so I want to turn off the ray tracing? Well, I can go fuck myself. Also, why does every mode have an option for selective ray tracing, except for the PS5 Pro version? So the Pro enhanced version of the game doesn't even have all the options that you programmed for the game? Why not? So let's just get this straight. The Series S version of the game, the ultimate kneecapped version of the game, does not have an option to just lock it at 1080p. It has to be upscaled 1620 with a 30 FPS cap and force-enabled ray tracing. Who the fuck benefits from that? We have the fact that no one can turn off the ray tracing, and if you're playing this game on any console other than the Series S, you apparently can't target anything except an upscaled 4K, because surely everyone benefits from that? But then there's also the simple fact that no one on any console can run it at a native 4K. So why is 4K the target? Also, the only difference between the Series X and the PS5 Pro versions, the only difference is the amount of ray tracing? Are you kidding me? That's what you spent $700 for? Not for more graphical settings, not for more graphical options, not for better customization, not for higher frame rates. The only difference between the base PS5/Series X version and the PS5 Pro version, the only difference is the amount of ray tracing. They fucking scammed you this console generation. They're not even trying to hide it anymore.
Is it really so hard to understand that it can run other games just fine? Like, seriously. And once again, I'll actually argue that PC gaming is more of a scam, because once again, I spent $2,500 Australian dollars on my PC, and yet still my PS5 runs way better. And once again, it can't even run a simple fucking mobile game at a stable 30 frames per second, yet a console that is like less than a quarter of the price does it just fine. And even a handheld PC, my ROG Ally, runs it better as well. So, can you explain that one as well, please? Exactly. You can't.
When PC guys like me...
You are not a PC guy. You are a PC fanboy. There is a major difference between a PC guy and a PC fanboy. PC guys are just gamers that prefer to play on PC, which is of course completely fine. You know, heaven forbid you want to play on whatever platform you want to. Whereas PC fanboys, well, they, just like with PlayStation fanboys and so on, they think that you're a literal human garbage if you simply dare to play on anything else except for their precious piece of plastic, and constantly talk shit about the other platforms and so on and so forth.
Talk about how ridiculous it is that you don't have graphical settings on these consoles that are more expensive than ever. These consoles that keep insisting they're the coolest, strongest, most elite things ever.
Right back at you, mate. The same thing can be said about your precious PC. Like, pretty much the only thing that I know that is good about reason to get a PC really at this point is because of the mods, and even then I don't really care that much about mods. I mean, sure, I get some myself here and there, but it's not really a selling point. So yeah, can't really say anything else about that, because there's nothing else really to be said.
These consoles that refuse to have a price drop over almost 5 years on the market. These consoles that insist they are the way to go. You should not get a gaming PC if you want high-end gaming experiences. If you want really good-looking games, if you want really good-feeling games, you shouldn't get a PC, you should get a console instead.
Once again, right back at you. PC is apparently offering that very experience that you just described about what they claim consoles can do, yet, once again, I spent $2,500 on my PC, and yet it can't even run a goddamn mobile port, a mobile game, at a stable 30, let alone 40. Yet a $800 console can, and a handheld device that probably runs at half the performance rate, quote unquote, as my PC. So, once again, is it really just consoles at this point? Now, of course, you can argue, oh, then why do you spend more money on your PC? Well, thing is, I shouldn't have to. Because if the console can last so long without any upgrades and run them just fine, then why not the same thing with PC? And even then, as if I don't have other things I have to spend my money on, such as insurance, medical, car vego, so on and so forth. And at this point, I think you should know what I find more important. All this other stuff in my life, or upgrading a piece of plastic that to give me a slightly higher chance of it slightly running better than it did before, and yet still underperform my PS5 and Series X.
And then this is what they serve you. They charge you more than the PC version, and then they serve you this. They overcharge you for this hardware. They overcharge you for everything, and then they don't even let you use it to its fullest potential. Again, why can't you just pick your own resolution? Why do they not just let you pick and choose your resolution, your texture quality, your ray tracing level, and your frame rate cap? How hard would that be? Instead, they have to give you these presets, because that's the easier way to do it. It's just so much simpler, guys. We can optimize the game so much better if we do the graphic settings for you. Never mind that they're 30 frames per second. Never mind that we're forcing you to play with ray tracing enabled, even though it eats your frame rate with such minimal returns. Never mind the fact that the PS5 and Series X are targeting a resolution that the PS5 Pro can't even handle.
Coming from the same guy who fanboys over a piece of plastic that can't even run a mobile game.
As if that's somehow the most optimal way to experience a real-time action game. As if kneecapping your frame rate in the name of a resolution you cannot hold is the best thing for the player. And then console dudes will eat this shit up and turn around and tell PC gamers with a straight face that console gaming is somehow like better for the consumer.
Can say the same thing about you quote-unquote PC dudes trying to convince us with a straight face that our consoles can't run 4K and 60 FPS and so on and so forth, yet they can. Unfortunately though, of course, not simultaneously for some weird reason, but they can. So yeah, it seems if this is a standstill, if I'm even using that term correctly, so Yeah. And once again, this is coming from someone who fanboys over a piece of plastic that can't even run a mobile racing game, of all things. That is level-based and has no advanced, like, scenery, things like that, where there's hordes of stuff going on. Just level-based tracks with sometimes upwards of nothing happening in the surrounding scenery, as just one thing, racing. Can't even run that at a stable 30 frames per second, yet once again, something that is a quarter of the price can run it just fine. And even a cheaper version of a PC, the ROG Ally, can run it better too. So, yeah. Sorry, not sorry, but I'm not convinced.
That withholding graphical settings from you, withholding features from you, is actually to your benefit, and charging you more money is actually to your benefit. We just don't have to worry about these things. We just don't have to worry about graphic settings. Never mind the fact that the hardware is blatantly not being used to its fullest potential because they won't give you graphic settings. You're gonna pay for it anyways. So, fuck it, you know? You're gonna pay up either way. Fuck it. Why would they give you any options? Why would they try harder? Why would they give you a better product? Why would they let you use the hardware that you bought to its fullest potential? You're gonna pay anyways. Console gaming is a fucking scam.
If console gaming is a scam, well then, I'm Jesus Christ reincarnated. But once again, I would argue that PC gaming is more of a scam because, well, I spent $2,500 on all this and it runs nowhere close to the same performance grade or whatever as my PS5 that cost a quarter of the price. And, well, I wouldn't be surprised if I drop another $900 or so on the fucking thing and it still runs most games like shit. So, yeah, there you have it.
And this spec chart just highlights why. This is ridiculous. Truly, why are they not just giving you graphical settings at this point? This is such an obvious misuse of the hardware. It is baffling to me that this is, like, just seen as okay. I am so glad I am not on consoles anymore.
I could drop another $900 on my PC for the slim chance of it slightly performing better, or at least on par with my PlayStation 5. And, well, I guess I could just go fuck myself. And, well, I guess you could say that I'm so glad that I no longer cast myself as part of the PC community because of people like you. Fanboys that just constantly just talk shit about platforms that other people simply dare to play on and spread misinformation such as, oh, it can't handle 4K, 60 FPS, this, that and the other. So, yeah, and to be honest, I haven't looked back since, and that is for the better. And just skip the rest because, well, it's just about him shouting out people, and, well, that's not really the point of this video, so it's sort of irrelevant, so we just skip through that. Okay, not the worst video I watched, but, and, well, did make some points and all that, but I just don't like it because of the misinformation, and once again, just overall crock of shit. And once again, PlayStation lives rent free in this guy's head. Like, once again, every single video I've come across is talking about PlayStation, talking down on it specifically, more than likely. So, yeah, at the end of the day, a gaming platform is just a gaming platform. Like, and that's all I care about, really. Like, if it can run Tomb Raider, Mortal Kombat, Need for Speed, so on and so forth, then that's all I really give a shit about at the end of the day. So, yeah. If it can do that, then I'm satisfied. So, yeah. Hope you all enjoyed this PC salt. Be sure not to overconsume, because as we all know, salt isn't really too good for you if you have too much of it. Hope you have a great Easter. Should be back in a couple of days from holiday to do some more videos and streams, so on and so forth. So yeah, Apart from that though, yeah, feel free to like and subscribe if you want to stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you in the next one.